Up next on Sci-Fi Fantasy, breaking down your airbrush. Hey everybody, it's Kenny Conklin from SciFiFantasy.com and welcome to another YouTube video. So what are we going to be talking about today in this video? We're going to be talking about airbrushes, these little guys right over here. So today's video, what I'm going to be telling you about is the breakdown of the airbrush, all the parts on it, and how I clean this airbrush specifically, or actually all my airbrushes specifically. I've been doing it for as long as I've had them this way. Some people may do it a different way. They may not like my way, but everybody has their own way of doing it. So I figured I'd show you how I do it. So today, like I said, we're going to talk about breaking this guy down, showing you all the parts and explaining to you how I clean it. I'm actually going to do a 4-part series on the airbrush itself. The next one will be how to clean in between colors. And then I'm going to have one on common problems with the airbrush. And the last one will be, I ordered an ultrasonic cleaner today. And hopefully that gets here today, and we'll do one on that to see the difference between how I usually clean my airbrush and how it cleans in an ultrasonic cleaner. So without any further ado, oh wait, no, I lied. Hey, come over to SciFiFantasy.com, join the community and all that other good stuff over there. Share your work and your projects and all that other stuff. Please come over, come over. No nonsense over there. No politics, none of that garbage going on over there. So just come, enjoy the site, and do what you gotta do. Now, without further ado, let's get over to the bench, tear this sucker down, and let you know what the parts in it. So today, we're gonna talk about disassembling your airbrush, how to clean it, and how to put it together, or how I clean it, I should say. So I have 2 airbrushes here, the Badger Patriot 105 and the Crescendo 175. I have this airbrush for about 21 years. The only reason I know that is because my wife brought me this plus a Badger air compressor for my birthday about 21 years ago. So this puppy's been with me the whole time. And the only thing that has failed in 21 years was the air valve, and that was my fault because when I cleaned it, I forgot to take this piece off and it got ruined. So I'll explain what happened with that a little later. But let's take a look at the Badger Patriot 105. We'll break this down and tell you all the names of the parts for the airbrush. So this is the Badger Patriot 105, and I left it a little dirty so I can go through the whole cleaning process that I do. Now remember, like I said, a lot of this is for beginners, and I do it my way. You may do it your way and not agree with how I do it. I'm just putting it out there for anybody that wants to know and didn't know the exact parts of the airbrush. So the first thing that we have is our protective cap over here. I don't really clean it, but sometimes I drop it in there just to give it a quick clean. Now we can start disassembling the airbrush, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen up the chuck back here, and I'm going to take out the needle. This way I don't ruin the needle while I'm taking apart anything else. And you can see I was painting before, and I let it dry. This way I can do a little cleaning of the airbrush. So when you start here, this is the first cap, and that's going to be your spray regulator. You can just take that guy off, and then it's going to open up and you'll have more pieces. The next piece here is going to be the head cap. Again, you can just screw this guy off, take him off of here, and voila, he's gone. Next up, right here, this little guy is going to be called the tip or the nozzle, and he just pops right off without a problem. There's no O-rings or anything like that. It just seats right in. The next thing I'm going to remove is the air valve over here, and this should be on there pretty tight, so you may need a pair of flats or something like that to twist it off. Just be careful, you don't want to ruin the part. And now this part here, I am not going to soak, because that's what I do, is I soak my stuff in lacquer thinner. You don't want to soak this. This piece actually has an O-ring in it, and this is what I was talking about with my Crescendo. I forgot to take this piece off, and the lacquer thinner melted the O-ring in there. Otherwise my Badger Crescendo would have been perfect for 21 years and still moving. Now this piece here is your air valve assembly. Inside you have the plunger spring, the plunger and the O-ring, and the valve screw. You can actually take this apart and fix any of those parts, order new parts and put it back together if something happens. Or it's easier, what I did with my Crescendo is I just ordered the whole assembly and put it back in instead of just getting a little O-ring and trying to fiddle with this. I think the part was maybe 10 or 15 bucks, so it wasn't bad. So remember to take out your air valve if you are going to soak this. You don't need to soak this. It's not going to get dirty. If it does, maybe a little corrosion over here or something like that, take a little sandpaper, gently get rid of the corrosion, and you'll be fine with this. So always keep this out of harm's way. A very important part to your airbrush. Now next up, we have the body, the trigger, and stuff like that. What we're going to do next is we are going to take off the handle of the Badger. Now this part here, there used to be a black O-ring over here. I was doing something and I snapped it somehow. It's not really a major part. You don't need it. It's not doing anything besides keeping this a little gapped from this, but I've had no problem without having the O-ring on there. So next up, we can take out the trigger, and then we're going to unscrew the assembly from the inside of the airbrush. And that goes in there pretty deep. Whoop, fell out. And the last part here that we have to take out is the back lever. And then we're just left with the body assembly of the airbrush. And you can see I left some yellow in there. This way we can do a little cleaning job on the body. Now the assembly that we took out is the needle tube, the tube shank, and inside the needle is the needle tube spring, and we have the spring screw right here, and then we have the needle locking nut at the back. So we can take the needle locking nut right off, and then the tube shank slides right out. There's no other pieces to that. Then you could break this piece down even further by taking the spring screw right off, and then boom, there's the little spring that's inside. Be careful not to lose that. And then you have this piece here. A lot of these pieces really don't get gunked up with anything, but I do clean everything except for our air valve. I make sure everything is nice and clean and that it's good to go. So what's this bottle of junk right here? Well, that, my friends, is my bottle of lacquer thinner. Even though I use acrylics, I use lacquer thinner to thin it out and it comes right off. But I am going to be switching over to something else when I do the ultrasonic cleaner, because I cannot use lacquer thinner in that. It'll get ruined. So all I do is I take my pieces and I gently, that wasn't gentle, but I gently put them in there. This way they soak, and I only soak them for about 5 to 10 minutes. That's all I do, and everything will come out nice and clean. Well, we got to do some scrubbing, but once we do the scrubbing, everything will be nice and clean. But the lacquer thinner loosens everything up, and we won't have a problem. We'll even get that yellow paint off the needle very quickly. So I'll let this sit for a few minutes, and then we'll clean her up. Well, that's it for this video. Sorry, it's going to be into 2 parts because this was running a little long. Didn't want to sit here with a half-an-hour video for you. So part 1 was the breakdown of the airbrush. Look for part 2 later today, which is going to be cleaning of the airbrush. And then later this week, we'll have the other parts up, and hopefully that ultrasonic cleaner gets here today. So thanks for stopping by and checking things out. If you have any questions or comments, put them in the comments section below, and I will get back to you as quickly as possible, as I always do. And I will see you all later tonight. Take care, and bye-bye.